Hello and welcome to World Traveler Cooking, where we cover interesting foods and interesting cuisines from around the world. Today we're going to make a Lithuanian cheesecake. Now the ingredients here are relatively complicated. As always, the recipe is in the video description, so for exact amounts, please check the video description. I'm not going to trust myself to get all these right. But we do have 75 grams of sugar for the sponge-based dough. For the sponge cake dough. We have, I believe, 50 grams of flour, 25 grams of starch. I'm using potato starch, but cornstarch should work. 3 eggs, and that's for the sponge cake. For the cream on the top, we have 100 milliliters of milk, 30 grams of gelatin. We'll use 200 grams of this whipping cream. We have 500 grams of cream cheese. I'm only using 75 grams of sugar here. Some people like it sweeter, so they may add quite a bit more. And then I'm using 700 grams of strawberries. You could, of course, use a different fruit, but usually for this recipe I have seen strawberries. So those are our ingredients. Now we'll go ahead and get started on the sponge cake. So I've separated my eggs, and I'll take I'll take 75 grams of sugar and I'll add it to the egg yolks. And we're going to beat this. You can use a stand or a hand mixer until it's white, and then we'll start adding other things. Once the sugar is fully incorporated and dissolved, you can find out basically it won't be grainy anymore. Oh, I forgot to add we will add 30 grams of butter to this also. At that point, we will add our starch and our flour. And we're just going to mix it until it's well incorporated, and then we will add melted butter. But we don't want the butter to be too hot. So now let's go ahead and add the butter, and we'll mix this in, and then I'll be back. And this is this part of our batter. Next we'll whip our eggs, beat the eggs until they are stiff. So once I have nice stiff peaks, I'm folding this together, and then I will go ahead and I will go ahead and bake it at 180 Celsius, that's about 375, just for about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll be ready to continue with the cream. So while this is cooking, we can take our milk, and we're going to stir it with our gelatin. And we're just going to let it sit for about 20 minutes to bloom before we start to go ahead and make sure it's well melted. So while this is cooking, I've mixed my gelatin and my milk, and I'm going to let it sit for about 20 minutes, and then we will go ahead and melt it. Okay, and so this is what it looks like when it's coming out of the oven. Looks great, and it's very pliable, and I poked it with a fork, and the fork came out clean. So now we're going to let this cool here. It is surprisingly large, and while this is going, as soon as my gelatin's done blooming, then we'll start melting that. So after about 20 minutes, we have this sort of gelatinous mass, and we are going to melt it over in a bain-marie. And just be careful, don't let it boil. And so this is the whole bits of different increments. You can either do things like one at a time and let the gelatin bloom once the sponge cake's out of the oven, or you can use multiple timers, which is what I'm doing. So we're going to go ahead and melt this now, and I'll be back when that's done. Once this is fully smooth, let's just take it off of here to cool, and we'll start on our cream cheese mixture. So in goes our cream cheese and sugar, and I'm just going to mix this until it's super smooth. Once that is fully incorporated, we are going to add our gelatin milk mixture. And we'll beat this in. And once it's fully incorporated, then we'll whip our cream. So now this is smooth, so let's whip our cream. And then we'll be ready to fold this in and assemble the final cake. So once this is smooth, I'm going to take it off of here and I'm going to start whipping my cream, and once that's in, we'll fold this in and assemble the final cake. Now, I added a lot less sugar than many people do. You might want to add more sugar than this, but it's up to you. Somewhere between 75 and 150 grams, probably. Now, because I have a stand mixer, I could go stiff peaks. Obviously, if you're doing a hand mixer, you want to go soft peaks. But this is now ready to mix in and fold into our cream cheese mixture. So I realized I forgot the vanilla sugar, so I'm going to stir this in and stir it for a minute or two before I fold in the whipped cream. Now my cream cheese here seems a little lumpy. This is because of how cream cheese is made. It's not the end of the world. Sometime soon I will actually make cream cheese, so you can see. So depending on where you are and how great your cream cheese is, it can get a little lumpy like this. But it should still be okay. So now I have my whipped cream. I'm going to fold all this together gently until I have a relatively consistent mixture. This will take just a minute or two. It won't even probably take that long, but we're getting there already. Yeah, look at that. I think that's going to be good. Next, so I've put a layer of strawberries on the bottom. Then I'm going to layer on the cream cheese mixture. As much of it as I can fit in this. Well, I think it's all going to go, actually. And then I'm going to let it set, and then I'll top it with more strawberries. So after a few hours, I'm just going to go ahead and put the strawberries on. I probably should have put them on before the set, but it'll be fine. And I'm just going to mound some strawberries on the top. Now, I'm not going through all of 700 grams of strawberries because apparently some of the ones I had aren't so good. Some of the ones I have even here are not so good. But alright, so now we have our basic cake. I will go ahead and cut a piece, do some photography, and then we will do a taste test. And now for the taste test. So, the flavor of the cheesecake is actually very interesting. It's very, very, very heavy cream cheese notes. The strawberry goes really, really well with it. The way I've made it, it's not terribly sweet, so it's actually it's very much enjoyable if you don't like sweeter ones, but again, people will add twice as much sugar typically as I have. The texture is somewhere in between what you'd think of as a cheesecake and more like a panna cotta. Very good. I really like this. I will definitely consider making it again. Now, if you like this content, you'd like to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have anything to say about this video, I'd love to hear from you. Recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.